American Pharoah comes into his final furlong, and he's got a 6-length lead as they come to the wire. A Triple Crown winner, a Breeders' Cup winner, a horse of a lifetime.
Welcome to the Paddock Pass with Brian Mariano on 104.5 The Team.
Yes, this is the Paddock Pass, here with your host, Brian Mariano, and I'm going to be taking you through all there is to know about horse racing. I'll have your top selections every week from the biggest races around the country. I'm going to look at some Triple Crown prep races throughout these next upcoming months, and we're going to look at some horses we might be able to see later this summer at Saratoga. So just wanted to go a few things about me, growing up in the area, love Saratoga, have family in the horse racing industry, and just loved being at the track. Loved breaking down past performances, loved trying to find that extra angle. I'm a horse racing guy at heart. So I'm the guy that's going to sit there, go to the track, look at the past performances, and try and come out and make some money that day. There's always the days where, you make a ton of money and there's nothing better than telling that person that this horse is going to be the horse, and you get him at massive odds. So I'm just a guy that loves being at the track, growing up around the area, loves Saratoga. So once again, this is the Paddock Pass here with Brian Mariano. This is 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. And we have some updates going on around the horse racing community now. With California Chrome is now over in Dubai. He's scheduled to have a prep race on February 25th. It's going to be a handicap race at 1.25 miles, which will be the exact same distance he'll run in the Dubai World Cup. Now, this is really interesting to me because Art Sherman wanted to point towards this race as opposed to a few others that were a little closer to the March 26th Dubai World Cup. As we look at this, I think this is a great move by Art Sherman. Gives him a little bit more time. He gets another week off. He'll have about a month to deal with the Dubai World Cup after this race. It's the second start off the layoff, which he looked great coming out at Santa Anita and the San Pasquale. So this should be very interesting for California Chrome. He seems to be very well after the trip. He seems to be really prepped and ready to go for this start in Dubai. So I'm looking confidently into this race. Obviously, you're probably not going to get much of a price for you that want to play that race in Dubai, but you never know. So as we move on swiftly and quickly here, this is the Paddock Pass with your host, Brian Mariano. This is 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. And we're looking at this weekend. It's going to be a huge weekend at Gulfstream Park for the Kentucky Derby prep races. The nominees just came out this past week for the Kentucky Derby. And, of course, you're going to be led with your 2-year-old Champ Nyquist. In many people's eyes, including mine, he will be your favorite as of right now. Late January definitely seems to be the horse. I found this really interesting for many of you that might not know. Most in the racing community will. Others you might not. This is the exact same connections as I'll Have Another a few years ago with Redham Racing, Doug O'Neill as the trainer, and Mario Gutierrez as the regular rider. The one thing that stood out to me was that there was no Songbird. And that was really interesting to me because this horse by far was the best 2-year-old filly out there. I know Jerry Hollendorfer was looking at her to possibly just continue on her prep races and go into the Kentucky Oaks. But, when you want to take a shot with this horse looked phenomenal in her 2-year-old season. By far and away the best filly out there. And, I guess we don't really know yet before these prep races, but you could see some that were, at late Saratoga last year, looking into, the fall and some of the winter right now. I think she's good enough to beat most of these horses. I know Nyquist showed up all of last season. You have a few that are running this weekend in the Holy Bull, but that surprised me a lot. I thought that this horse could really compete with the boys and could be the next upcoming of Rachel Alexandra. I think she's that good. And maybe she will. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see her at the Travers or some of the bigger races, the Whitney at Saratoga time. It depends if Jerry Hollendorfer wants to send her west and keep her at the Santa Anita as opposed to, bringing her east like Bob Baffert did with American Pharoah. A couple other horses we want to look at, especially for this weekend, if you're going to be playing the races this weekend at Gulfstream Park, is going to be the Holy Bull, which is race number 11 of the 12-race card at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Now, this race is obviously, on paper, just seems like a match race, and that's exactly how, as we look at later segments, every week I'll be doing a pick four at one of the bigger racetracks throughout the area. I'm also going to do a running $10 show bet. Now, we've all been there when we go to the track. You're there with a bunch of friends. You're there with your coworkers, or maybe just a couple of you and your dad. You're just up there and, it's not going great, but hey, I got $10, you got $10. Let's put it together. We'll put it on someone to show, and you just keep it running. And there's nothing better than having that show pool running 5, 6, 7 races in, and then all of a sudden you turn that, I'm not having a great day, and you cash out and you got a few $100s on you. So I'm going to start something pretty low. I'm going to start with $10, and we'll just keep going every week as we look at these prep races, as we go over the big races every weekend. And we can use this as a gauge to where maybe I'm not going to give you a 6-5 favorite. That's no fun. We're not going to make any money, but I'm going to try and make some money off of these races. And hopefully, as we get to April, May, Kentucky Derby time, we have a huge bankroll that we can use in those big races. And this is the Paddock Pass here with Brian Mariano. This is 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. So we look at the Holy Bull this weekend, race 11 out of the 12-race card. I obviously think this is a match race, as I mentioned before, between Greenpoint Crusader and Mohaymen. And it seems to me that I couldn't really find too much speed in this race. I mean, if you look at Mohaymen, by far could be the one that gets to jump on everybody. You could possibly see the horse on the outside, Frontier Ranger, coming outside with Edgar Zayas. He's a very aggressive rider, so you could see that happening as well. But Greenpoint Crusader just doesn't impress me. And that's going to hurt, especially from the guys at Brooklyn Boys Stables or up in the New York area. But his biggest race that he won was in the Champagne, the Grade 1 at Belmont in October, but that was over a sloppy racetrack. And yes, he beat some pretty good horses that day, but that doesn't impress me. If you can win over a sloppy racetrack, that's great. But here, when you start getting into the cream of the crop of the 3-year-olds, starting the prep races going into the Kentucky Derby, that's not what I'm going to go with. I would single Mohaymen on any tickets. I think this horse is much the best here. Kieran McLaughlin has this horse ready, coming off the Bullet Work on the 21st of January. I think this horse takes the lead, runs away at the top of the stretch, and he's going to be my best bet this weekend. And of course, I'll do a best bet every week. I'll change it up every now and then, but 99% of the time, my best bet is going to be a horse that will win. So that's going to be something where I will tell you, this is a horse you single and pick 3s, pick 4s, doubles, whichever it may be. That's not where I'm going to give you my price. My price is going to be in that $10 show bet. So my Stone Cold Lock, that will be our segment. Stone Cold Lock this weekend is going to be Mohaymen, race 11, the Holy Bull, Gulfstream Park. Book it. This is the Paddock Pass with your host, Brian Mariano. We're going to move on to our $10 show wager. Look through a lot of races this weekend, putting together my pick 4, which I'll give you in a few minutes. But I really fell in love with a bomb in race 7 at Gulfstream Park. If you're looking through here, and this is, of course, what they love to do as they start the Rainbow Pick 6 at Gulfstream Park, which is not a bad bet this weekend. I think that could be really good. You could have a couple singles in there, and you can hit a few bombs throughout the entire card. As I looked through it, and it's going to be in the first race, as I mentioned, it's going to be the one horse, Taste for Talent. Now, the 7th race is 7.5 furlongs turf race, maiden special weight, $50,000. And I looked right at the top to begin with. Ken and Sarah Ramsey on the turf. Joe Sharp is 22% at the championship meet down at Gulfstream. That's very, very impressive. You don't get your top name rider, Castellano, Velasquez, but Corey Lannery is very good, and this horse is very good as well. So I think this is going to be a big, big jump for this horse right out of the gate. First start, you're going to get 10-1 or more here. You cannot ask for anything more than that. You give me 10-1, the horse is going to pay $22. We'll have 10 to show on it. Give me $5, $6 to show, and we move on to next week. That's all it's going to come down to. We'll keep this going. It's going to be a big, big hit for us. I recommend playing this horse if you're playing the pick 6, any doubles, pick 3s around it. I would have this horse on the ticket. The bloodlines are there by Kitten's Joy. I love Cannon Sarah Ramsey. Once again, won an Eclipse Award this year. This horse will be there. It's the Paddock Pass here, 1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. And every week I'm a big fan of pick fours. I love playing pick fours. You can make a ton of money. It's only a 50-cent wager. And I will make sure that every time I give you one of these, it's going to be a relatively low-cost ticket. So every day I'll throw this pick four up there, and it's going to be relatively affordable. I'm going to try and keep it under a $50 limit, which will make it very easy if you're playing along with, a buddy, a couple friends. You throw a 10 spot up there, and you can go and play. And, most of these hit pretty well at Gulfstream Park, especially now. Looking at this weekend, there might be a few scratches we might have to deal with the rain coming through. But this pick four sequence, you can make a decent amount of money and not have to pay an awful lot. Hopefully we make a lot of money with the Taste for Talent pick. That'll get us some money here that we can push along and make a decent amount. The first race that starts this pick four is a mile on the dirt, a maiden special weight for $50,000. And this race, I wasn't sure if I should go ahead and call it, hit the all button, or maybe I should, maybe one or two, and then we can go along from there. But as I continued to look at it, I kind of narrowed it down. I liked only 3 horses here, and it's kind of a race where I'm just going to try and get by. If the favorite wins, okay. I really don't think you're going to see a huge favorite here. The 10, Mo Power by Uncle Mo, a 3-year-old by Uncle Mo, out of a runaway groom mare. Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez. This horse ran very well in his debut on the 19th of December at Gulfstream Park, running just second as an even money favorite. But looking at this, our hometown boy, Chad Brown, has another one in the 5, our second choice here. And I couldn't find a way to leave this horse out. I also looked at the 4 off a great bullet work. A 3-year-old colt by Warfront really looks good here. So I went 4, 5, and 10 in this race. So we opened 3 deep to start this pick 4, which I kind of wanted to put my bullets at the end of this pick 4. So hopefully we get by this leg and we can catch a couple prices as we move on. Race number 10 is a mile on the turf. It's the Sweetest Chance Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. Really like Ken and Sarah Ramsey early in the card. I'm going to go with them here. I'm going to have them on the ticket. Joe Sharp's numbers I cannot look away from. This horse coming out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf ran very well that day to run 4th, in my opinion, against Catch a Glimpse, who was by far one of the better horses we've seen all year. So I like this horse. I think he's going to be close. I went 3 deep again here. I went with the 6 as well, another Chad Brown horse. And anytime I normally see Chad Brown with William H. Lawrence and Clarovich Stables, I got to have something on him. So Joel Rosario picks up the mount here, rode a great race last time out of 7.5. Will stretch out the extra 16th here, which might have gotten the win last time. He was off a step slow, 4 wide around the turn, just missed getting up. So this horse is going to have a heck of a chance. And I also threw in the outside horse, the 12, hopefully stays in, as Conquest Beat Bop for Mark Cassie, and Mike Smith coming along for the mount. He'll most likely be your speed. So I wanted to have something in case he gets on the lead, jumps ahead of everyone, gives me a 49-50 half mile and can draw away. It's at least something we can have on the front end. So we move on to the Holy Bull Stakes, where my best bet of the day is sitting there. Mohe Men really looks fantastic here. Don't think it's going to stop. Junior Alvarado coming in for the mount. Kieran McLaughlin. Not great numbers at the meet of the championship meet right now, but I think this horse will get him back on the right track. That will be a single for me in this pick 4. The single, the 2, Mohe Men in the Holy Bull. We'll get to the last leg here, and this race is, I was this close to hitting the all button, but hopefully this is where we can catch our price, have a ton of bullets left. Out of the possible 16 in here, we're going to have 6. So we'll have a pretty good look. I went 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, and 11. Now, threw a few prices on here. Might be a race that we can get lucky. I felt like this is a race where you could very easily go all. So I wanted to make sure I covered myself on the last leg. The 9th race, we got 4, 5, 10. The 10th race, we got 2, 6, and 12. We are singling the 2 Mohey men in the Holy Bull, and we're going 6 deep in the last leg. That's a total ticket cost of $27. So for $27, you can turn into maybe a few hundred. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Paddock Pass. Don't forget you can join us every Friday on 1045theteam.com for all of your horse racing updates and selections for the big weekends. And I appreciate you guys joining me for the first week. Hopefully this keeps going. We can build this up and have a huge summer meet at Saratoga. I'm your host, Brian Mariano, and may all your tickets be winning ones.